everyone. Okay. I was hoping this was going to go smoothly, but it's told us that the live stream is shutting down. Give us a second. Okay, Instagram, are you gonna... Okay, great. So, welcome everyone to another live. Thank you for joining us. So, I'm joined by my beautiful friend Sascha today, who is a trained practitioner with the Academy and very involved in a lot of what we do. And she's also an absolutely incredible musician and vocal alchemist. So, I'm very excited we're going to be exploring sound healing and vocal alchemy today. And Sascha is going to be sharing her wealth of wisdom on how sound can be a portal into healing. So, Sash, if you want to introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about your own journey with music and sound and how that has evolved, that would be great.
Absolutely, babe. And such a pleasure to be here with you and sharing something that's so deeply passionate from my heart. And yeah, my journey with sound has been beautiful and has been deep and has been incredibly transformative, right? And there's a few moving pieces in that. And really, to say that sound has been a big part of my life would be an understatement. I have 20 plus years of classical music training. I went to a music specialist high school, and then later actually studied classical music at WAPA, which is Australia's leading university for performing arts. And, in that time, it's like there was this embodied knowing that music is such a sacred lived experience that wants to flow through me, right, in some way. And yet, like, I was still very consumed by, competition and comparison and this false ideal of perfectionism and elitism that mainly I put upon myself, yes, and also it was definitely an environment that I was in. And for me, really, in that time, I moved through a lot of deep mental challenge and illness and took time away from the university itself and actually experienced a sound healing, right? And I remember, it was an auspicious night. There was the full moon. And at that time, I was very new to all things spiritual. Yet I remember driving home and just noticing this feeling in my body that really was peace. Where actually the noise of the mind, the chaos of the mind, the stories, right, that was circulating and was so much. It's like they finally quietened in that moment, and I could just surrender into my body. And what my body was so needing in that moment was rest, right, and it allowed for this deeper listening. Right, allowed for this deeper listening. And I remember driving home thinking, yeah, wow, I think I need to do this, And then I went home and I was researching different sound healing trainings and academies. And then I'm quite a spontaneous woman, and I ended up booking a training and then doing a year over in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales.
I don't think I even knew this.
Yeah, babe. I mean, well, there was intensives where we went for 4 days at a time throughout the year, and then also it was online training as well. But it's such a magical place in the world, my God. And it's like, what I'll also say is when I did study, I was playing the saxophone. I was an instrumentalist, right? And I kind of fit myself into this little box. And I sang in a part of choirs, and I would always love singing, right? Especially with community and with people, and like how that felt in my body. And even though I wasn't really consciously aware at that time, yet it was a feeling, right, that kind of encapsulated my being. But anyway, it was at this training really that we began to sing mantra. And I kind of discovered my voice, and that was the slow unraveling of that, and what I'll also mention, and I think this is the biggest piece, and I think this is why it's so applicable to the world of Tantra and why it's so prevalent that we're speaking into it right now, is that, I then went on and taught a lot of yoga. And this was like a pivotal moment, right? A pivotal moment of the reclamation of my voice, of my expression, of who I am as a woman, and what posture I'm now leading with, right? And everyone was in Shavasana, lying down, the lights are dimmed, there's candles, there's incense, it's a beautiful ambiance, right? And there was this little harmonium next to me. And back in the day, it didn't matter what instrument you played, you still had to do piano exams. So I knew a few chords, right? But also hadn't really touched anything like that for years. And I thought, fuck it. I feel like I want to share my voice in this moment. And I don't even know how that's going to look, right? And as someone who would memorize pages and pages of music, as someone who would spend hours and hours practicing to sing, first of all, yet to express from a place of no mind and just that felt sense of like, wow, there's something I have to share, right? And that something was really a prayer to close the ceremony of that practice and what I was holding with the group of people. But personally, right, it was also this prayer of my heart that got to be free in that moment. And it was really this shift from, you could say, mind to heart, right, or mind to body. Could also say this shift from really this guise of performance, right, and being focused on something that was outside of me and just going, this is medicine that I desire to share in this moment, right? And from that moment on, the voice unraveled more and more. But kind of summarize, I guess, or condense the journey. It's a question.
Yeah, beautiful. I had the same kind of experience with mantra, and I still am kind of going through that experience of finding my voice and letting go of the need to be perfect and just being with whatever arises in the moment. But yeah, mantra as well for me was a really beautiful way of kind of finding that and letting go of the mind.
Yeah, and how does that feel for you when you're singing mantra? Just out of curiosity, it's like when you're in that space of no mind. If you had to put a
Just ecstatic, just like just I can feel just the strongest connection to spirit and divinity, and like that's one of the, it's always in my daily practice mantra. I always have it while I'm doing work. It's just like such a strong connection that can just break everything else away, and it's like, okay, I'm here and these words are flowing and vibrating through me.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I love that you said that, right? Because the voice definitely acts as this bridge between the unseen and the tangible, right? Because we are also in this human body having this experience. And it is this direct pathway, it's like we can also look at the voice being this bridge between, right, our mind and our heart, right? We can also look at the voice as being one of the main portals for energy to enter and exit the body, right? So, I feel like speaking into like what vocal alchemy even is.
Spit it, please.
Great. Because, I feel like this word alchemy, we kind of see it a lot. It's alchemy, and so okay, actually, what does alchemy even mean? Right? What is it at its root, right? And really, I mean, at its root, it's deeply connected to Egyptian culture, right? And this art of transmutation, and actually representative of the black soil of the Nile, right? These mysteries of creation and of transformation, right? And if we look at it in Latin, like alchemia, right, it's this transmutation of base metals, right, into gold, right? So when we look at just that, right, and we add the word vocal to a part of that, right, our voice, our expression, our truth, right, that reclamation of self, what, and how we're showing up in the world, how we're leading in the world, right? It's like voice being this portal, right, for energy and to flow, right? When we actually just allow that opening and that expression, right? It's like we don't need to know what it means and why the voice is so powerful, because it's a direct pathway into the feeling body, right? We talk about breath, sound, and movement, right? Being these pillars into the emotional body. Voice is one of those quickest pathways, and is why I'm so passionate about it. So if you're actually on the live right now, like let's just all take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, we'll let out some sound. Ready? Let's do it again. Breathing in. Deep breath out with sound. Just taking a moment here, right? And just connecting. Just from that brief moment of expression, of a deeper exhalation, of this vibration of sound, right, in our body. Noticing what effect that has. Maybe you've noticed a slight softening, maybe you've noticed a slight opening, right? But this is why sound, is such a powerful gift, actually, and it is why it's a healing modality within itself. It's because it has the ability to really drop us into the state of presence, right, into this state of being. Open your eyes again. Right. And, if we're thinking from just a scientific perspective, right, our body is like 70 or 75% water. Right. And when we're sounding, what the sound waves are doing, right, is that it's shifting form within the cellular matrix of the body, right? And we're recalibrating our nervous system in that way. Right. And when we're sounding, it's always going to accentuate, right, our pain. It's going to help with that release and that purification process. Right. It's also going to accentuate our pleasure, right, and open us more to bliss and to experience and to joy and to feeling good. Right. So there's many moving parts to sound, and I'm clearly very passionate about it and could speak about it for ages. But yeah, I know that you play handpan, and that's been something that's been really special to you. And we've definitely had some special moments of jamming out and connecting to spirit and to source. And yeah, I'd love to know if there's been any really experiences that have come through in that for you, or any feelings or any moments or realizations or openings or
Yeah, I mean, so many little moments. And often, if I'm, going through something, sometimes I'll express and release, and that's what I need to do. And sometimes I'll dance, and sometimes I'll pick up the handpan and I'll sing. And like, if I'm sad, especially, I just find it's such a beautiful way of expressing that and just like letting whatever flows. And then this song that is, taking me through the different stages of grief and like through the anger and through everything. And it's evolving and moving, and then, finally ending and integrating it all. And it's like the song becomes such an integral part of the processing of my emotions in so many different ways.
So beautiful. And yeah, I love that you mentioned that piece on integration. And I think that's beautiful. And I think, why Tantra is also such a profound modality is because we're really looking at the sympathetic, right? The activation, just as much as we are looking at the parasympathetic, right? And the integration, right? And why I feel like there's such a beautiful weaving, right? And even Tantra, right? Weaving is because it really allows a deeper imprint, right, of what has been experienced in a session, right, or in a process, right, to really land, and cement, right, on a somatic level in the body, right, and that we're really balancing that activation and that release, right, with sound and with something that is deeply healing.
Yeah, it's such an incredible tool. I mean, it's throughout all of our retreats, throughout all my personal processes, like sound is always there, and it's something that I think people maybe underestimate the power of. And I'd love to know as well if you've had, any obviously you've had quite a few, but if there's one or a couple experiences you want to speak into with sound that were like really transformative for you.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, there's a part of me that can answer that question of like every experience with sound
Yeah.
ignite some sort of inner transformation, right? But I feel like what's coming to mind, and maybe because I'm wearing blue today, but what's coming to mind is, and I was wearing this blue, like this blue long maxi dress at the time. I was 16. And it was at the end of high school, and there was this thing called perspectives. And anyway, the top scoring students of dance and of music and of drama all auditioned, and then you got in and you would perform at His Majesty's Theatre, which has like thousands and thousands of seats in it. And anyway, I got it, and I did this song actually called Syrinx. It's so interesting being with this right now, called Syrinx, right? And the song itself was actually about Pan, right? About the god Pan, wild, untamed nature spirit, right? Music was a big part of his journey. If you're curious, definitely look that up. And I wore no shoes on stage. And it was a solo. It wasn't like saxophone with any accompaniment or piano or, band or anything like that. Like it was just me on stage. And I remember like being backstage and it being like such a thing, and then just walking out on stage with my bare feet, like just in complete silence, this like theater that was just silent. And just like it really, even though there's been a lot of challenge in the earlier music years, it's like those moments in time of just breathing deeply, of having my eyes closed, of having my feet bare, right? And just like breathing and feeling the God Pan and letting that be expressed. Like I just remember that being such a pivotal moment. And it's just very interesting to reflect upon, like now, doing what I do and having that experience at such a young age. And it was just like this feeling in me of like, there is such a power in sound, right? And the beauty that music holds as this universal language that connects us to emotions or sensations or experiences, right? So directly, and actually, yeah, just knowing that, okay, this is going to be some part of my life in some way, and I don't even know how that looks, right? I've never really known how it looks. Do I even know how it looks now? Yes and no, right? It's still a mystery that I'm continuously leaning into. And what I really want to say and really bow to Tantra and, especially your mom and the beautiful creatrix of this academy, Chantel, is that this container really, and even this fucking tradition actually, that just holds this pillar of permission, right? Of permission. And it's like, I'm not singing for anyone else now. I'm not expressing for anyone else now, other than this is just what feels true. This is what feels in alignment with following joy and depth and ease and pleasure and what's feeling really good. Right. And actually like this like giving less fucks about anything out here and just being like, oh my God, this is who I am.
Yeah, that's so interesting you just said that. My next question that I was going to ask was going to be like, how has Tantra affected the way that you sing and let out sound and music? And so is that, it's just helped you to just be more connected to your truth in that?
Oh, there's more things that I can mention for sure. I mean, I'm definitely passionate about clearly, both of them as we both are, right? And, yes, it has been this permission slip, but it's also been an opportunity to listen deeper, right? It's also been an opportunity to really unveil these layers of armor and of protection and to really let myself be seen, actually, and once upon a time, your mum would always make me like just sing on the spot. And it used to scare the shit out of me. And I'd be like, oh my God, babe, this is terrifying. And now she asks me to sing, or maybe she doesn't even ask me to sing. And I'm like already there singing, I'm like, and it's also been like really working with different belief patterns, and like I think the one of the biggest ones is yeah, looking at like how I'm valuing myself, looking at how I'm valuing my worth, but also looking at how I'm valuing the bigness of who I am, right? And we all have a bigness and a radiance to share. We all have a power, right? That gets to be seen and fully felt and owned. And mm, yeah, they're just even if you're just starting singing in the shower, and it's like, and you're just like with whatever is coming up for you in that, and just letting your voice be heard and actually just being like, yeah, like even in that, you don't need to know that perhaps that is connected to, yeah, okay, like I have something with wanting to take up more space, but not feeling worthy enough of doing that. But actually knowing just by singing in the shower, right, and letting your song be expressed, doesn't matter how it sounds, right? But just actually that you're having a good time whilst doing it, and knowing that in those small moments, right, and there's a myriad of small moments, right, and I can share more, of course, but it's like those moments are the moments that are falling into place of something so much bigger, right? And really it comes down to like, and it can sound so dicky and spiritual and cliche, but it just comes down to loving yourself enough to choosing what feels good, right? And sometimes choosing that means that you're going to have to show up in a certain way, and that can be challenging, but what you're doing is going to make you feel good, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's more to that, but
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And for me as well, I
yeah.
had I had in Hawaii a bit of an experience with my voice and feeling like I kind of found my voice a bit, and it was really the recognition that it was just for me. Like I'm not singing for anyone else. And I was singing for the land a lot. It was just like me and the land, and nothing else mattered. And we had this beautiful song that Mum and I just would sing everywhere that just went Mama Maui just over and over again. And I was just chanting that song everywhere. And it was like, I didn't care who heard. It was just like, it was for me. And it was an act of love for the land and for myself. And just, yeah, letting go of everything else and just coming back to this is an experience for me.
I love that so much. And yeah, I'm so glad you also brought this piece in, right? That connection to the land, right? And to prayer, right? And to exactly like you said, something that's bigger than me, right? And I think, yes, song is prayer, song is gratitude, right? And yeah, that's beautiful, that's beautiful. And I think again, if we're just looking at the power of the vibration of sound and what that actually carries, right? And actually having that intention as well, and how that gifts, right, so much around us, including ourselves, but so much around us, right? And yeah, there's such a beauty in giving back and of giving gratitude to the land. And yeah, I certainly love the moments that we share, darling, of music and prayer and sisterhood. It's been so special. And I know there was a moment just the other day, and feeling I had a call for something else, and I was kind of feeling the container of women, and we were with each other, and I was like, oh, I feel like there's some preparation, maybe there's not. And then we just all started jamming and singing and feeling, you and Chan, and like the power and the sacredness of sisterhood and of that container and of that song that came through in that, right? And it's like, I think it's like, let it rise, let it be free, or like something around that, right? And just that reclamation of freedom and sovereignty when we actually gather and just let that be expressed. So yeah, it's definitely so many different avenues and aspects that medicine and sound can take together, and especially in connection.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. I think it's such a different way of just synergizing with other people. And like, even you were at Abby's, yeah, when we were at Abby's and Patty's the other day, and just like feeling that container that we all created with the sound, and it was just like we're
Mm.
all on this level that's exactly the same, and this vibration together, and it just feels, it's so unlike anything else, jamming with a crew of people when you're all connected in that way.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think there's so much said in the song without words. We definitely live in a world where there's a lot of words. We're
Hmm.
either talking a lot, or we're consuming a lot, or we're just interacting, in this certain way. And what if you interacted more with sound,
Hmm.
right? And how would that feel? And it's just, yeah, it's something that if you're watching, I would invite you to explore a little bit more of, right, in your
Mm.
friendship circles, and seeing what that actually brings.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. And for someone who is very disconnected from their voice, and they are really struggling, is there any kind of practice, or what would you suggest that they can do on a daily basis, maybe to bring that into their life?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is, if you're feeling resistance, right, around expressing your voice, or if you're feeling judgment, or if you're feeling, a bit of fear, or if you're wondering, oh shit, fuck, how's this going to sound? Let that be there, right?
Mm.
Let that be there.
Mm.
Right, actually, oh gosh, this feels really challenging for me right now. If I just had to give a sound to that challenge, oh, okay, what would that sound like? Oh, right, releasing any expectation or attachment of what that sound needs to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, for me, that sounded beautiful, actually, right? And it was some expression of what was wanting to be here in the space.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's not resisting your experience, right? It's not resisting your experience. And if you are resisting your experience, to just be with that resistance, and to just give that sound, and to just start there, right? It's like when you're expressing your voice for the first time, that can be really terrifying, right? And fear, the classic fuck everything and run, or feel excited and ready, and fear, like, fear alchemized really is courage, is power, is truth, right? Vocal alchemy, voice, being, that alchemical process that shifts the denser metals, the denser emotions into gold, into liberation, into something that actually feels like these little sparks and segments of freedom, right? So just be with where you're at. That's all you need to do, right? That's all
Mm.
you need to do. And just let that have some sort of sound. That would be my first, I guess, invitation, if
Mm-hmm.
someone's really struggling with their expression and sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I guess, with that is also holding this layer of compassion, right? And if we're tying tantra into this as well, it's like, what is inner union, right? How can we cultivate that more within ourselves? Well, actually, we can take a breath. What are we doing? We're dropping into presence, right? A pillar of the masculine. Okay, oh my gosh, this feels a bit challenging. Oh wow, that sounded kind of ugly and a little bit feral. Yeah, fair enough. My God, fair enough. Challenge sounds like that, right? What are we doing? We're bringing in the feminine. Just in that, we're cultivating a deeper sense of inner union, and we're coming home to ourselves, and we're coming home to a deeper sense of wholeness, just in that, right? And that's where healing really gets to be simple. And I find, in my personal experience, actually the simplest teachings are the ones that are most profound, when we can take that into inspired and embodied knowing and action.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. And I think for me as well, working with the block that I had on my sound also helped me
Mm.
uncover the deeper layers of where I didn't want to be vulnerable and where I didn't want to let myself be seen and where I had these expectations on myself and the need to be perfect. And, then that led to then working with that. And it's also beautifully tied in.
Look, absolutely. And, you mentioned this word perfect, and definitely, I think there's elements of all of us that hold the perfectionist in some way or another, right? And what that means to us. But also tying in what I mentioned earlier, right? And that is this, okay, where am I expressing from? Am I expressing and opening my throat and sounding from a place of not good enough stories, mental activity, and noise? Or am I sounding from a feeling in my body, right? Where can I shift in my life from here to here? Releasing, right? Any judgment around what's going to be shared and just witnessing it, right? Just witnessing it and letting it be there, right? And letting it know that it's okay to be there. Rather than that actually sound is that alchemy, is that process, right? Of becoming.
Beautiful. So, do you want to maybe do a live transmission of some sound of any type?
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to translate,
I mean, your
by the
voice is your
recording.
voice is pretty clear. You can start, and if it's crackling, I can let you know. But it sounds pretty good.
Great, great. Well, there's a little bit of a story to the song that I feel like sharing, actually. And it feels actually quite personal and a little bit vulnerable, but really important. And I think there's that part of permission that the voice, gives. And really what I want to share with you all is really how sound helped with the sublimation and the transmutation, right, of what I was feeling in this particular moment. And that was when I was on a beach in Tulum. And there were a lot of stories, right, circulating around my body. There was judgment coming up, right? There was some shame coming up. I could feel this part of me that was very aware of my external world and people around me. And it's like I didn't really want to get into the ocean, right? So, the friends I was with, again, which one was your mom, but they went off for a walk. And our beautiful friend Orica, who I'm sure has done a live here as well, they went off for a walk and I just sat and I felt, right? And this particular song came through. And it was a song that was just a prayer to myself, right? And feeling this deep, newfound level of devotion, actually, in connecting to self, yes, but in connecting to spirit and in connecting to the land and in connecting to the sacred waters, right? And yeah, and then, I was singing this song and I got into the ocean and it was so beautiful, and it's really was that moment in time that was a shifting from the external to the internal, a shifting from what everyone else is thinking to just being in the naturalness of being. Right. So, yeah, if you're listening and if you're someone who has ever struggled with anything to do with their body, right, or their appearance, know that as I share my heart's prayer and song with you, please allow this to be a prayer and song for your heart. So, if you wanted to close down your eyes, you're welcome to. I'm just taking a few deep breaths. This body, my temple, so sacred, so strong. I honor this vessel where spirit belongs. Ya na na he ya ko. Ya na na he Ya na na hey ya ho. Ya na na hey. Radiant light from my heart it flows, rooted in love, where the wild wind blows. Ya na na hey, ya ho, ya na na hey, ya na na hey, ya ho. Ya na na, I rise with the earth. Each step a prayer, each breath a song. Oh, I've been whole along. Ya na na hey ya ho hey. Ya na na hey hey. Ya na na hey ya ho. Ya na na hey. And if you're listening, just placing one hand to your heart right now. And just knowing that whatever story feels the loudest, or whatever judgment feels the loudest, whatever fear feels the loudest, rather than trying to push it away, what if you just asked, what is this showing me? And the invitation would be to then give it some sound, right? And to see how that shifts, how that transforms. Right, and knowing that sound allows you to really venture down this courageous path of just getting more present with what's alive for you, of listening deeper to the whispers of your heart, and what wants to be felt and what wants to be heard, and what wants to be seen in that. Right, sound as medicine, sound as a teacher, sound as a homecoming, sound as a birthing of not a new you, but of more of you, right? Of deeper layers of you. Let's take a nice enriching deep breath in together wherever you're at. Right, and just feeling, how would life look, right? What would life feel like if I let out a few more sighs on my exhale, or if I let out a little sound every now and then, or if I'm expressing and releasing no into a pillow, right? And of just sharing my voice, or sitting in the shower, right? And it's like feeling, connecting. Would life feel probably a little bit more open, right? And a little bit more free and just a little bit more fun, right? Probably. But just feeling what that is for you and knowing that it's possible and that's capable and that, you know, your voice gets to be shared, right? Your truth gets to be shared. Your expression gets to be shared. Your vulnerability gets to be shared. And how beautiful. Oh my God, how beautiful. And always when I'm connecting with someone and I can feel deeper layers of their vulnerability being expressed, it just opens up new avenues of connection, new avenues of depth, new avenues of discovery, new avenues of just meeting, right? Mm. Mm. And yeah, actually, also just want to take a moment to really bow to all of my beautiful teachers, right, on the path of music, and all of my mentors and those who have touched my heart and shaped me in so many ways, right? And of course, bowing to my mentors of Tantra and to the Academy. And yeah, you know, it's like it's such amazing medicinal work, actually. And yeah, it wouldn't be possible without all of them, right? And so bowing to, yeah, Great Spirit, and to you, my darling, and to the beautiful land in Australia, right, in Volu, that yeah, really holds us and allows us to share this work, right? And to music, to sound, to soul. Mm. Mm. Mm.
That was beautiful, Sascha.
Thanks, Broski.
Oh, Broski.
Oh, Broski. What a moment.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're so
Amazing.
welcome.
All right. Well, let me just take a little look and see. Don't think there's any questions. Is there anything else that you feel you would like to say?
Mm. Mm. Yeah, just thank you all for watching and being present and for sharing this moment with us and the moment with the Academy and, you know, the lives that we're bringing out each week. There's definitely a lot of beauty, so make sure you keep watching and yeah, keep learning.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. You can find Sascha. I will link her Instagram. She has a lot of beautiful offerings. Definitely check them out. And if you're in Perth, are you still doing sound healings?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I've been kind of away from Perth for the past 3 years, but yeah, there's lots of fun events about to drop. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. Sound healings, vocal activations, yeah, and more, of course, but in relation to sound itself. It's exciting.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Mwah.
Bye.